Does your wife keep track of every time you go golfing, hunting, play basketball? It's like she has this weird tracker that she keeps track of every single time. And she likes to throw it back in your face at the most randomest times. This is how exactly me and my wife used to be, but then we realized that there was something more deeper than just going out and playing golf. My name is Ben, and I am with my beautiful wife, Kristen. And over a decade ago, we built a multiple six-figure business. The problem was, is our marriage was not good. So we had a job go completely south, and that marriage cracked even more. And realizing that we were not good, we lost that business and almost lost our marriage. So we spent thousands of dollars in multiple marriage conferences and investing in mentorship to realizing that we have to prioritize each other. So we came back stronger than ever and built another seven-figure business. And today we are stronger than ever, happier than we ever could be, and are completely best friends. We hope that you enjoy this conversation.
So the question of the day is, how much golf is too much golf? How many hunting trips in
Hmm.
one season are too many hunting trips? How much fishing? Basketball.
I should put the head turn. I don't necessarily think you're asking the right question. I mean, you never get too much golf in as their eyes pierce
Depending
as
on who
their
you
eyes
ask.
as their eyes pierce my soul. No, I think all seriously, we need to unpack this, and because there is a balance, just like as in life, there is a balance, and we definitely need let's unpack this conversation so that we can hopefully come to a very good agreement.
Well, I think to start off, like right off the bat, there isn't going to be like a magic number for everybody that fits for everybody. So it's very much your dynamic in your home. And like we talk about so much is just your season, the season that you're in. So if you have little babies, if you're in that season, it's going to look a lot different than if you're empty nesters. So depending on what season you're in, what makes sense or what's the business like, what's work like, if someone went back to school, whatever the dynamics in your home be, if you're caregiving for a loved one, that affects all those things. So for us, it started with a very toxic, it was a very toxic conversation in our home of the, babe, I'm going, you were actually like kind of afraid to tell me. It was one of those, you tell me very last minute, you were like afraid and you kind of like, you know,
Was I?
you're waiting for, yeah, because I resented you every time you went. So
That's
you
what
were
it
met
was.
with eye rolling, my
Yeah.
disappointment, you're going again. It wasn't, I never encouraged it. And back then we were in a really unhealthy place in our season of life at the time. We had very small children. So our dynamic was you would be out working all week and then you'd finally be home on the weekend. And I'm looking forward to the weekend as time with you. And then Saturday morning, you're trying to leave the house again.
Right.
And then there I am with the kids again. And it was just like, for so long, it was unmet expectations of things I never expressed. So I was expecting us to have family time. You were expecting to get to blow off steam and decompress from a hard week at work. And we just never talked about it. And so that's where it was then. And now I actually encourage you to go.
See, that's what I mean. There's not enough times that you can go out.
Okay, well, within reason. But yeah, I feel like we're at a really healthy place with it now because there's so much more. It's such a bigger conversation than just like how many times a week should I go golfing? It's about, like men and women have different needs in the marriage and are they being met or are they not? And that has a lot of influence on how we view certain things and what our perspectives are. And I can be bitter and resentful towards the things you choose to spend your time on if I feel like you're not spending your time with me.
Yeah.
And that was a big change that you made.
Yeah. There was a time where I wanted to go because we were starting a business, we were growing the business. It was successful, and then we just kind of wanted to break from the business. But then also we were not in a healthy place, like you just said. So going out to the golf course, taking a little bit longer out there was kind of fine because I just like, because you're ignoring like the problems at home, that and then that so red flag sirens going off like that is wrong, just so you know, like
If it's an escape.
if it's an escape, it's wrong. And if we're not in agreement and if we're not communicating, then there's going to be a lot of tension constantly. And that's when you see all these reels on Instagram with the wife bashing, or how do you know if my husband is going golfing without saying it, and he's cleaning the house and doing the dishes and mowing the lawn, putting the laundry away, doing all that kind of stuff. But it's silly, but also sad because there's so many people that you have like the nagging wife, and then I just gotta go and get rid of get go get some space and go golf and get away from her. And it's also, I think, can stem from you are avoiding a conversation that you need to have. And that is 100% what we were doing. We were avoiding those tough conversations because it's easier to ignore sometimes. But the problem is those conversations and those situations do never leave. They are there, and they're just like a little creepy monster in the closet. Then all of a sudden it wants to grow and grow and grow and get bigger. And then that monster wants to come out, and it's very ugly. But if you get it when it's a little cute little monster and just kind of
Cute.
kick it right out of the house, like it's different. But when it's comes to this nasty little thing, then it's a really tough conversation.
Yeah.
So
Well, the nagging is huge. And I think what's hard is like we view the nagging wife as we just look at her as wrong and evil and like, ugh, gross, get away from the nagging wife. And scripture even talks about her. And like, yeah, that is your response. She repels actually, which is the opposite of what you're trying to do. But ultimately, deep down underneath the nagging is a woman whose needs aren't being met. And so, whether that's help around the house or whether that's help with the kids, or maybe she needs her own time, or maybe you've been neglecting her all week because you've been busy building the business. Like, are you texting her throughout the week and sending the sweet and like, I love you, babe, just for no reason? Bring her home a coffee, bring her flowers, or take the kids one day and let her go do her thing. I think it's a lot of nagging wife is just a woman who's like quietly desperate to be seen by her husband.
yeah,
So it comes out in the wrong way, but ultimately there's a reason underneath that.
yeah, and when you say, because that's like, oh, the nagging, or she always spends money, and because what is she coping with too? Like what is she like? Well, he's never around, and then because it's always like the she's doing it. No, he's doing this. No, she's spending all the money. Well, it's like, bro, you just bought the brand new driver again. Like you just bought one last year. Did you really need this year's model? Or like you just bought that rifle, and now you just up upgraded it. But you're put it in her on blast that she spends all the money. And so it goes back to even those reels too that you see. It's like, oh, when I leave the house, it's like $10, but when she comes with me, then it's like, all those thousands of dollars. Like it's just like we make it uh it's a problem that like nobody wants to talk about, but then we just like live our lives with it, and then nagging this, and I'm going out with the boys, and well, I'm gonna go shopping. And it's like it's so defiant, and honestly it boils down to just it's pride, number one, and then and number two, you're just avoiding something. And then what, to go through your whole entire life and like always be naggy and always be resentful and always be like, "Oh, I'm thankful I'm out here with the boys today. Give me my cigar." Like what kind of life is that? Hey there, we hope you are enjoying this conversation. But hey, we had a quick question for you. Right now, currently, who is in your corner for your marriage? One thing we know about the top athletes, the top business owners, the top leaders is that they all can't do it without the support.
That's right. And when it comes to a couple in business, it's the same way. Imagine what it could be like, even if you're not in crisis. Maybe everything's going great. But imagine what it could be like to have a couple in your corner, encouraging you and making sure you guys stay aligned as you continue down your path together.
Or maybe you are in crisis mode and you have no idea where to even start. Well, we can help you with that too.
There is going to be a link in the description below. You can click that link and you can go ahead and book a discovery call with us. We would love to get to know you, hear your story, and see if we might be a good fit to help you on your path moving forward.
Let's get back into this conversation.
And ultimately, it's like you've lost your connection. Go back to the thing you're craving on the golf course is friendship. I mean, unless you're going out by yourself, which things, sometimes there's that too, which It's for mental health and all that. There are like healthy reasons that you go do hobbies. Hobbies are really healthy. But like we're talking about within reason, what's your driving force behind that and your motivation? And if it's to flee your home, then take a look at the home and
Mm,
take a humble look at the home and what's the atmosphere we've created in our home. Is it a place of stress? Is it a place of, because I just, so much of that is like if the husband's working all week and then the wife, it's like a thing, she like slaps the honey-do list on him on a Saturday morning when like you're hoping to rest and recover from the week, and now you have this huge list of stuff you have to do and she's dragging you out to go do all these errands and chores and all these things. And so is it a place of relaxation,
mhm,
or is it a place where he just feels like he's not doing enough or not measuring up and it's more pressure and more responsibility? And yes, there's responsibility in a home. Like, do your part, like each one of you is building this life together. You have things to do, but I think it just goes back to like selfishness is a big,
yeah,
and no one ever wants to admit they're selfish. But if you stop and just take a humble look at yourself and your own behaviors, how much of the nagging, how much of your behavior is rooted in what you want, what you're not getting, and yes, there is truth to that. Like I even just said, if your needs are being met. But if we're just looking at ourselves, then we're not looking at our spouse and what they might be needing that we're not giving them. And so it almost is even counterintuitive because it's like if I sacrifice for them, then I'm the one that does without. Well, actually doesn't work like that. If you sacrifice for them, you might be giving up something in the short term, but you're making their life better. You're actually making them happier. You're filling their cup in a different way, meeting their love language, whatever it is. And that makes them a better spouse for you. And you're
mhm,
the one that reaps the benefit of that and gets to enjoy them more. And that's where happiness comes. And I've just heard the worst kind of marriage is two selfish people in love.
mm,
And the greatest kind of marriage is two servant hearted people in love.
yeah,
And when we look at how I can serve my spouse in this season, especially if there's stress from business or stress from raising babies, how can we help each other and be a team? Because you are a team,
mhm,
and just it's not about what am I missing, what am I needing, but what is my part. And if both people turned and looked at their spouse and said, how can I be better for you? The marriage would get better.
yeah.
It's when we just only stare at ourselves.
Yeah, it goes back to that the honey-do list, what you said too. It's like, well, she's always putting this list on me, and I worked all week, and what's like, well, what did you do during the week too to like make this list like not so, where you got home from work and then you just like crashed and like watched golf or cleaned your gun or whatever out in the garage or mowing the lawn. You know what I mean? I think there's things that like we escape to and do that propels this thing as well. So like then when you do go golfing or you do plan that hunting trip, now it's like a situation because you've ignored and you're afraid to even ask her.
Yeah.
And why are you afraid to ask her? Well, it's because you've been ignoring the things that she's been, kind of hinting at and wanting to do. So like this whole time it's like if you would have just but then it comes down to that, like she's like your mom. Like she's
Yeah.
your wife, bro.
Ouch. That's the
Like,
worst.
she's your wife, like,
Yeah.
you're, like, you're tiptoeing around like you were gonna ask your mom something, it's like, she's your wife, like, why are we tiptoeing around this
Or asking
conversation?
permission.
I gotta ask permission from my wife, or the boss, whatever, and that actually a lot of people actually say that, and it's funny, and it could be the truth, and maybe sometimes, like, because the boy hasn't turned into a man yet, but yet he's married, and it's like a whole other conversation, but, like,
It goes
I
so deep.
don't necessarily agree that we should be saying like I got to go ask the boss because of just like how biblically we are supposed to be living our lives as the husband. But if you are doing what you were supposed to be doing as the man of the house, then it's not like I got to go ask the boss because technically you should be leading your home. And we're doing it together, obviously, if we're doing it properly, which is obviously so much easier and better too
Yeah.
when we do it together.
Well, and I think you touched on something really good about what are you doing during the week, because physically you might be home at night, you might be there for dinner, you might be around while the family's doing stuff, but are you actually present? Are you emotionally present in that moment? And I think for me as a mom, like not just as a wife but as a mom, those times back then I didn't feel like you, because you were so consumed with business and work and stress and all
Mhm.
these things that were understandable. You were distracted when you were home,
Yeah.
or I could see it weighing on you, the stress of everything. And then, we've got little babies, and like you're not going to pick them up and read a book to them because you're trying to decompress and like turn on the football game or something. And so there was part of that in that season too. I felt like even when you were home, you weren't actually present. And so I think that's a good thing for men and women to take a look at too, is just because you're in the building, just because
Mm,
you're in the house
mhm.
doesn't mean you're present. And that was a big shift that
Yeah.
changed for me, because then I encouraged you to go because I felt like you had actually been with me that week. We
Right.
actually had conversations at night. We talked around the dinner table. We would talk afterwards on the couch, and you'd let me into your world and I'd let you into mine, and we'd talk about what's
And
actually
then you
going
told me to
on.
stop letting me into your world. Remember that?
Well, you mean when you like vent about work stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a
So
point.
here's the thing, like when you open up a door, it's like then you want to know what's going on in this brain. It's like,
It's just a pendulum. It's
okay,
like,
girl,
let's
I'll
do a
let
little
you
more of this.
know.
Okay, too much.
Because
Let's
as a
go back.
business owner, this is constantly just, but
Yeah.
that I had to learn that too, because responding to email, because obviously sales is the whole
Constant.
point of like why you're in business and to keep the lights going. And so always trying to sell and, 9 o'clock at night, or like, so I had to set boundaries before. I had zero, 11 o'clock on the weekend, what doesn't matter, trying to land the deal, where now it's, a lot different, separate phones and numbers and different things and like office hours. And depending on like how big the deal is, I might like be trying to like get up in there and get that thing done, landed.
Which I
But
understand.
but then also like there's always Monday. And like what that thing that like unlocked in my brain was like customers realize that, because they are that same way too. Like they know it's the weekend. And you know so and then it goes back to like now I'm more present with you. And then when I do go out, golfing or whatever, like it was a lot better, and like not even a question. And then her golf tracker stopped because like it
I
didn't matter
stopped
anymore.
keeping score.
So we're saying all of this,
Yeah.
not saying that you should not have a hobby, because you should have a hobby.
They're
Like
so healthy.
very healthy rhythms and habits, and just get out there, decompress. And the cool thing is when you do have a hobby and you're connected with your spouse like you should be before you have this insane hobby, the cool thing is then you can invite them out
Yeah.
to the situation and whatever it is that you do.
And the stats on that, like, what was it? 43% or something report a higher marital satisfaction when they have a shared hobby. And that's so powerful
Yeah.
because it's a point of connection. It's like letting them into your world instead of using it as something that always separates you guys, bring them into it. And, there's a lot in that of you might not like it, and that's okay. And that goes back to sacrificing for one another, but like go give it a shot and try it. And it doesn't mean you have to go every time. Like with golfing, I just, you know, I'm
Just
trying to remember the first time you took me out. Did we attempt 18 holes?
no, I would never have done that to
Because
you.
even now, like I max out at 9, and you know that, and I'm grateful that you know that and appreciate that, or like respect that. But and then there's sometimes too where golf to me is a stressful. Is it a sport hobby?
Yeah, it's a sport.
Oh, sport. Okay. But like, when the older professional men come up behind you and like you're taking too long. And so I'd rather just pick up my ball and like, let's go to the next one. I'll pick up on the next one. And you let me do that. And I'm so grateful. We like don't even keep score for me at least. But if I have the right snacks and maybe music and you let me take my pictures and all this stuff. So I think you managing your expectations of what you're going to get out of that golf round has helped a lot, because it's not maybe going to be your most high performing, most competitive golf round ever because I'm there. But if you look at it as like, this is just going to be a fun point of connection. And then you get to teach me things, and that is really good for you.
But first
And
of all, also you do enjoy golfing now.
I have gotten to enjoy it more.
And she actually wants to go. Let's go to the driving range and
Sometimes
like
it's
really
my
want to work on
idea.
like trying to like work that driver. And okay, yeah, let's go.
I
Because you
just
don't got
like
to
the
tell
driver
me
the best
twice.
because it goes the farthest and it
Right,
makes the loudest noise. So I feel like powerful.
right.
I don't want to putt. But
Yeah.
then Lincoln, our son, so then we get the kids involved. He's like, let's go have a putting, what does he call it? Play pig,
Play
but like
peg
on
or
the little
putting.
putting
Yeah.
thing. So Yeah, that's a fun little so you can get the whole family involved. And again, manage your expectations. But it's a cool way to just spend time together as a family is let each other into your world. And even if you don't like it, try it one time. And then both of you do it. So it's not just you go golfing. Now it's like, now you come with me and try out this new coffee shop I've been looking
Yeah.
at. Or let's go shopping or
Yeah.
without complaining and
It
you
goes
know.
back to this, okay? We're gonna boil this all down. It goes back to you need to be pursuing your spouse just like you did in the beginning. And what do you mean in the beginning? I mean when you started dating, when you've locked eyes with that person, you were locked. And you're like, I gotta get to know that her name. I gotta get to know his name. I gotta do whatever in my powers to get to know this person. And what'd you do? You obsessed on the phone and you went out to dinner. You tried to pursue her, get her to say yes to a date, and then she said yes. You connected, make sure everything was right. Shirt was looking good, hats on, nice. Got that nice watch on. Pick her up on time. You weren't late. Um,
It worked.
and and then what we get married, life happens, kids, running a business, all the things, and then that pursuit stops, and then you wonder why it's awkward, you wonder why it's weird. It's because, well, you stopped pursuing your love, like, and then you just treated her like a roommate, treated her like mom, and then you wonder why she's not your wife. Like, you wonder why, like, sex is weird, you wonder why, like, there is no sex, you're wondering why you have to go decompress from her. Like, what? It's because you stopped pursuing her. Stopped, and then in different seasons, obviously, then now you're frustrated because you have small kids, and then like the season looks different. Because I can guarantee you, like, if we were the way we are today back then, it would have been a lot more peaceful. It would have been a lot better
Yeah.
because were avoiding conversations and I was resent like I want to go, but you're like new mom and this whole thing, you know what I mean? So it's like all these things, but there's there's people that have never had a conversation since after all the weird, awkward postpartum things that girls go through after babies, and they've never had a conversation even then, and they just like go through life like living almost separate lives.
Yeah. You
Like
get on autopilot
Like,
and
what kind of life is that? Like, you're not even being purposeful as a couple. The thing that really need you to understand is that God has a plan and a purpose for you, but He also has a plan and a purpose for you as a couple. And, and that's gonna take work. That's gonna take because there's nothing more than what the devil wants is to like divide you two. Because okay, divorce is one thing, and that's nasty and it's ugly. But you living divided in the same house and never getting along is probably worse than divorce. Maybe not
well,
worse.
the kids, I mean, there's a whole yeah,
It's
it's
a
a whole
whole thing. But
conversation.
like, you're like literally like just separate. I'm gonna do my thing. She doing her thing. You know, it's just like it's not about the hobby. Like you
Mhm.
should like as we're even talking about this, it's like I thought we're talking about the hobbies. It's like it's not even about the thing. It's like, but why are you so obsessed with the thing? Why are you going to decompress?
What this actually stems from, this whole episode idea and conversation, is I posted a reel a couple of days ago that's gone a little bit viral for me, at least. And the comments have been kind of all over the board. And there's been a lot of sweet ones, which have been nice of, golfers tagging their wives. Thanks for supporting me, babe. And just little kissy faces and hearts. And that's very sweet. I love that. But then there's other ones that are like, can you talk to my wife or can I give you my wife's number? Which, kind of pointing to things we've already talked about. It's
Right.
like it actually involves both of you. And what can you be doing to be helping the situation? But then we had several comments too that were just like, how do you actually do this? Where do you find rhythm? What are the things that you do when you have small kids in the house? And how do you make this work? And I'm going to say two things actually, because you just made me think of something else. So I'm going to
Oh,
remember that. But practically speaking, one of the things that we started doing back to like just compromise in marriage was you started setting a tea time for 6 a.m. on a
mhm.
Saturday,
I actually enjoy it.
which you do like the early because you
Yeah.
get out before all the
All the slow
all
pokes.
the slow pokes. who are taking their time. But you would get out, it would take a few hours. You'd be home by like 11 at the latest, probably. And then I was kind of a slow mover with the kids in the morning anyway. So we would do a slow breakfast and get ready. And then if we wanted to go to the zoo or go berry picking or to the pumpkin patch or whatever it was that we had, then after you'd get home from golfing, we'd go do that as a
Mhm.
family. Or I would go out with a friend and go get coffee or something. And you'd hang with the kids. But I loved that rhythm, just practically speaking, of what do we need in this season? Do we need family time? Do we need alone time today? And just like making that space for each other was hugely helpful. And each of us sacrificed to get that. So just figuring out practically what works for your marriage and your home in this season. But speaking back to something you touched on, like purpose, and I think that's a big thing to realize, purpose can seem like such a big topic and like what's our calling? But like God does have a purpose for your marriage and for you individually, each of you, husband and wife. And I think so much of that we might not even know what that is because we haven't had a conversation about it.
Mm.
And that speaks to the power of hobbies and going out and doing something together and having fun alongside one another. Like that's what I love about being driven around in a golf cart on a Saturday is like the conversations that we get to have, and talk about that. Like, what's something you're passionate about? What's something on your bucket list? What's something that you have, like a goal that you have in mind? And if you guys don't talk about that, then what are you even working towards?
Mm.
Like, then you're just getting up on a Monday morning and doing the same Groundhog's Day over and over and over. And all your days look the same, all your weeks look the same because you're not building towards something. And we're just so big on shared vision and figuring out like what is it that God has for you to accomplish in your life together. And that comes from having a conversation
Yeah.
about it. And sometimes it's been so long since you've had one of those. Maybe those things have changed. There might be a dream that's been in your spouse's heart since they were little, and maybe you do know that. But then maybe there's something new that's popped up recently, a new passion they've discovered. Or once kids entered the picture, now you want to own a daycare or you want to start a school or
Mhm.
there's just all different things that different life events can trigger that those things change, which is why you should always be pursuing each other and asking those things because your spouse changes in every season and you need to get to know them again. Life events alter how we think about different things and
Right.
what our priorities are. And have I asked her lately what's on her mind? Have I asked him lately what's important to him? And what are we building towards together? And the unity that that brings in your marriage is huge. So that's a big one about it's so much deeper than the hobby.
Yeah.
It's like, what's your purpose on this earth? And that like takes it real deep,
Yeah.
but you might not know that.
Especially just as together, and what are we supposed to do together, and we're not just breathing air. I will say this last final thing kind of came up as you were saying all that. Um, if you're in like a building season, little kid season, different because every like we are saying different seasons. If you're empty nesters, like it doesn't really matter. You can do whatever you want, right? So it's like depending on what season you're in, it could be wise for you, husband, to maybe pick one hobby. Maybe just do the one thing versus having seven or even three. Because sometimes if your kids are younger, maybe your wife needs a little bit more help and maybe or financially it's not wise. Like there's different things where it's like sometimes some of that bitterness is and then the little digs come from the other side because it's like you're golfing, now you're into hunting, now you're doing shooting, but then you play basketballs on Sundays and now you're trying to do pickleball. Like
And you got to buy all the
all
gear
right,
for
bro,
all
like
the
you need
things.
just to pick one, you know what I mean? So it's like you need to pick one. And then because things with hobbies is like hobbies take time and hours. Like golf is a 2 to 4 hour thing, sometimes six, sometimes guys like to play for 9 hours, depending on the course you go to. Or hunting, you're 2 weeks, a month gone. Like so you see what I mean? So you're not in different seasons, you're not just picking all the hobbies just because you meet a new person and they're into this and now you're into that. I think it's wise that you should just do one or two and then making sure that you're in communication with your wife because then she just can roll her eyes again at you like, oh, another hobby. Okay, here we go again. So I think being consistent as a man can help you in this hobby conversation too, where we're not bouncing around, we're not random. I mean, I think eventually, one day, like, oh, we should try pickleball together. That's a different conversation. But like, if it's this week, it's pickleball. This week, I'm going hunting. This week, that's a different conversation. But so I would just give you a little nugget here at the end. Just maybe start with one, maybe two. If you're in the struggling of like, how do I balance hobbies and spending time, like maybe you should just cut one, and all of a sudden you have all this time.
So much free time.
So much time for your wife.
Another thing too to think about is like men and women have different needs, and especially in marriage. And one of women's actually the primary need a woman has in marriage is security.
Mm,
And that a big part of that is security in your marriage. And security in your marriage comes from knowing she's number one.
mm.
So are you treating her like a priority? Would you
Sheesh.
ever cancel golf if
Ooh,
she asked you to?
girl, you trying to stir it all back up?
Not that she does it all the time, but if there was a need, if there was a desperate emergency situation, would you be willing to do that? And
If you
does
can
she
even
know?
consider that, there's an issue.
Yeah. And does she know that? Because you can say it, our word, we can say all kinds of stuff, but what do your actions prove?
Yeah,
And she will not feel secure in the marriage if she does not feel like she's number one. And that comes from how you treat her and your actions on a daily, continual basis, not just when you're trying to earn favors so that you can go golfing on Saturday, but what do you repeatedly do in the marriage to make her feel secure that she knows she's loved by you and she's number one and the priority?
that's really
So,
good. Little nugget for you right at the.
got to get it in there.
Well, we hope this conversation helped you. We hope that it shines some light maybe on this hobby, how much or not enough, or when can I go. We hope that really that it shows you that there's maybe conversations that need to happen at home before we're talking about like how many times is the right amount of time. And hopefully like you go out with your spouse, go do the thing, love each other, do it together, and you will find out that you might actually enjoy it yourself too. And then you both can be obsessed with it. And now it's a great time, and you will see that you guys living life together, doing it together, not separate lives, but we're doing this together on purpose. Hey, if you haven't subscribed, make sure you stay subscribed so that you can stay up to date with all the activities and workshops and events that we are going to be hosting. Talk to you next time.